welcome to this edition of Social Studies in a Snap, with me, Mr. Brainstead, Mr. B from the future. This lesson will deal with geography, so I searched throughout history, and I located this famous individual who relied on her extensive expertise knowledge on geography to become one of the finest explorers ever known to mankind. She was an aviator who became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean, and was the first woman to receive the Distinguished Flying Cross from Congress. She remains one of history's greatest mysteries due to her mysterious and troubling disappearance. Future Knights of Social Studies, I would like to introduce you to Amelia Earhart.
I'm very pleased to be here, Mr. Brainstead, but we must make this brief. I'm not satisfied simply flying across the Atlantic, especially since I was the second person to do that. Darn that Charles Lindbergh. I'm going to be the first to fly around the world. I'll be leaving for Miami shortly.
I'm not so sure that's a good idea, Amelia. It sounds like a dangerous trip. A lot could go wrong on a voyage that long.
I'm not afraid. But didn't you say you wanted to interview me on geography?
Yes, of course. Now, Amelia, could you please tell these future Knights of Social Studies how to use latitude and longitude to find an exact point on a map?
Sure. I'd be happier than a unicorn eating cake on a rainbow. Latitude and longitude are both imaginary lines on the Earth. Latitude lines go side to side. You can think the lat lines are the flat lines. Each latitude line is numbered in degrees, starting at 0 degrees latitude, which is the equator. Traveling north on the equator, the numbered lines of latitude get larger in number until they reach 90 degrees north, which is the North Pole. We go back to the equator lines. Lines of latitude go south where they're to 90 degrees until you reach the South Pole. So any line of latitude above the equator would be designated as a north line of latitude, and any line of latitude below the equator would be considered south. In my travels, I can use these lines to plan my route and know where I am going on my exploration. Longitude lines go the other way. They run up and down. Lines of longitude show how far you are from the 0 degree mark, otherwise known as a prime meridian. Longitude degrees can go up to 180 degrees east and another 180 degrees west. Together, latitude and longitude lines make a grid of invisible lines on the Earth. Now this is the important part. As important as listening to your distinguished teacher in school, you can use the grid to find absolute location, the one pinpoint spot on the Earth where that line of latitude and longitude cross. For example, Brookings, South Dakota is a spot on Earth where latitude line 44 degrees north crosses with the longitude line 96 degrees west. That's the only place on the Earth where those two lines cross. So if I were flying a plane to Brookings, I could use those coordinates or absolute location to find my way.
Cool. Kind of like how GPSs can help families on road trips so they don't get lost.
Yes, but you also must know how to read maps. They have important features on them that can help a person better read a map. For example, a compass rose is the drawing on a map that shows the 4 cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. Many compass roses also show the intermediate directions, or the in-between directions. Those are northeast, northwest, southeast, and southwest. Maps also have scales, which kind of look like little rulers on a page. Since maps are obviously smaller than the land they show you, people need maps to show how much bigger the actual land is versus its actual size on a map. Maps also have these slick symbols to show you the location of different things. For example, if you saw a star inside a state on a map, many people would know it's the state capital. The star is a symbol for the capital. You can also look at the map key to find out what all of those symbols mean.
So, does that mean that all maps are the same type of map?
Good golly, no! The two most common types of maps are physical and political maps. Physical maps show the physical landforms, like mountains and deserts. Political maps are used to show the boundaries between territories, like the United States and Canada. The big difference between those two types are how they use color to represent the land. Physical maps usually show color to show differences in elevation, like the height of the land. For example, the Rocky Mountains would be a different color than a low area like Death Valley. Political maps use their colors only to show where one territory ends and another begins. Of course, there are many more types of maps as well, such as historical and road maps. Each one has its own uses.
Amelia, I can't thank you enough for letting me interview you. Thanks to you, we are much closer to becoming Knights of Social Studies with the powers to vanquish the Dark Knight. Now, are you sure you won't reconsider your voyage around the world? Things could go awfully, horribly, and terribly wrong along the way.
Adventure is out there, Mr. Brainstead, and I intend to find it. Toodaloo!
Get it? Got it? Good. Until next time, adios.